What is up, Flyover family? Welcome to the 8th episode of the In-Season Grind Show. Before I do like my regular intro or however the case, sorry that it's been so long since I uploaded, like 3 weeks going on a month or however the case, but you can check my Twitter for the updates or however the case. Um, I'll leave my Twitter link in the comments below or however, but that being said, um, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. The three loss losing streak, um, and then it ending with the 31-0 shutout win. I'm going to talk about all of that. And then also the latest Eagles injury report. So without further ado, let's just fly into it. So my thoughts on our three-loss losing streak. Obviously, the biggest problem was the offense, or however the case, in the Chargers game. Jalen Hurts had like his worst game of his career, 4 interceptions. And then in the second Dallas game, um, I think the coaching staff let off the gas, or however the case, and choked a 21-0 lead. Um, the only thing I think really Jalen Hurts could have done better, however the case was, maybe not be so coachable, audible out of all of like the, candy ass, playing not to lose bull crap or however, and, stay aggressive and things of that nature. But other than that, I know we had like 3 touchdowns and things of that nature. So, um, it was really just kind of like the defense, you know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, if you're scoring, 21 points at, in pretty quick succession or however the case, and then you let them come back like that, I mean, come on now. Defense is culpable for that as well. But again, choking that lead or however the case versus such a bad team, the offense is culpable as well. So, Chicago, I think they just flat out coached Nick Sierra and Patullo. Um, I think that there is things, players could have done better, however the case, but, in my personal opinion, I think it was more so, our offensive coaching staff getting out coached, in my personal opinion. But yeah, after choking a 21-0 lead, Hurts' worst game of his career, the offensive coaching staff getting exposed over and over. At that point, I was thinking the season's over and things of that nature. That's what I was thinking at that point. Throughout like the last 3 losses, and then most recently, the Eagles 31-0 shutout win over the Las Vegas Raiders. First and foremost, the defense. I mean, 0 points. To see a donut up on the board, or however the case, that's absolutely good to see. Um, because they're paid too and things of that nature. They are one of the 32 NFL teams, and to hold, you know what I'm saying, one of the paid 32 NFL teams, you know what I'm saying, because the general manager gets paid regardless if he does a good job or not, or however the case. The next guy, you know what I'm saying, whenever they hire the next general manager, however the case, same thing, with the quarterback, same thing with the offensive line and things of that nature. Um, yes, this is a 2-12 team. I'm not acting like this is the greatest show on turf, but this is, an official, statistic. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's more so a showing of the defense, or however the case, that despite not having Jalen Carter and things of that nature, they can still get it done despite, being a little banged up and, guys being listed on the injury report, whether it be intermediate things or whether it be something minor or however the case may be. Um, but yeah, overall, that's kind of like what I think about like the defense in this individual game. But yeah, very impressive, very good to see. Also before I forget, Brandon Graham, 37, about to be 38. He had 2 sacks from the interior playing defensive tackle. He looks younger. You know what I'm saying, playing on the inside. You know what I'm saying. Pause just to be safe. He looks explosive, stronger in there playing defensive tackle versus defensive end. It may even extend his career, 50-50. Zach Bond, he had an interception. Ojimo, he did his thing out there. He had a sack. Nolan Smith, he did his thing out there. He had a sack. Because Pickens is dog water, that pretty much took Bowers out the game, or however the case, and that takes him out the game, or however the case, for the last couple of games of the season. Since obviously, the draft isn't until after the season, or however the case, and even then, the playoffs, or however, they're not a playoff team, so at least a few more weeks for that, and then obviously, the off season, and then the next draft, or however the case. But either way it goes, um, the offense or however the case, they maybe got some confidence, maybe a little bit of momentum. But yeah, overall offensively, Jalen Hurts, he played damn good. He bounced back or however the case. He had 3 touchdowns for 175 yards, 12 for 15 for 80% completion. Goddard, he had 2 touchdowns in the end zone. I want to zoom in on Goddard's touchdown here in a little bit. But anyways, Saquon Barkley, he also got in for a touchdown. A.J. Brown, he also got in for a touchdown. The offense in general, it looked, quite a bit cleaner. Just 3 penalties for only 35 yards lost. In some other games, we had like double-digit penalties and things of that nature. So, now, one of the Goddard touchdowns, to kind of zoom in on that, like I was saying, as pointed out by Mostly Eagles, I will tag him as like a collaborator when I'm editing this and posting it later on tonight. Should be out just before midnight or however the case, but yeah, it looks like pretty much exactly like a play Scott Loeffler, I'm pretty sure like the quarterback's coach or however, a play that he called at Bowling Green last year, however the case. Mostly Eagles, he has a lot of good insights, and he notices like a lot of cool stuff like this or however the case. I suggest following him on Twitter and also subbing to him on YouTube and things of that nature. But yeah, Loeffler is probably the real one, behind like the sudden improvement, because there was times we couldn't score on bad defenses before, led the NFL in 3-and-outs, and then all of a sudden, we're able to move down the field or have the case. There was times we couldn't even do that versus bad teams. I'm just saying, like the entire second half, whenever we took that 21-0 lead, I mean, they didn't just get the 3 touchdowns and then the field goal over, just like that. I mean, it took at least a couple minutes each time. You know what I'm saying? So, there's more than enough time for us to get some more touchdowns as well, but predictability or however the case. So maybe he threw in some of his plays to mix stuff around or however the case. But yeah, again, that little insight or however the case, I'll put like the little plays or however the case, like like vertically or however, like it's his like post or however, but I'll also like put like his Twitter name or however the case. But yeah, it's his insight. I'm not gonna pretend like I discovered it. You know what I'm saying, or nothing like that. He pointed it out. I'm like, dang, it does look literally like the exact same or however, because obviously it's collegiate players versus NFL players, so obviously there's going to be a little bit of athletic difference in terms of development. But yeah, overall it does pretty much look like the exact same play. Let me know what you guys think about that or however the case. Like I said, give Mostly Eagles a follow or however the case. It's his insight and things of that nature. That's his hard work and all that or however, but I am, giving him the credit and all that, but yeah, so yeah, in terms of Eagles official news and injury updates, the offensive line is still kind of banged up, as you can see in the Eagles' latest injury report. Saquon Barkley dealing with a stinger and things of that nature. A bunch of key defenders are banged up. Bond with a hand injury, Jalen Phillips with a knee injury. Tank Bigsby, I know he's not a defender, however case, but I'm just saying he's dealing with an illness. I do know for sure Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter will both be out, at least according to Thursday's injury report. I haven't seen one yet for Friday at this current point. But if there is one, I will put that, and I'll put like a little text correcting what I just said or however the case. But yeah, that they will both be out as far as I know versus the Commanders tomorrow. BG, I think this is kind of news or however the case, especially for Eagles fans. BG became the oldest Eagle to record a sack in a game at 37 years and 255 days old. That's pretty darn cool. BG, I mean, that's a pretty cool ending too. Being the oldest Eagle to ever get a sack. I mean, come on. It's good old Uncle BG out there getting action. And he had 2 sacks as well. You know what I'm saying? So he also got the game ball and things of that nature. So I definitely thought that was earned and also pretty darn cool or however. So with a Week 16 win over Washington or a Dallas loss, the Cowboys will officially be out of the playoff race and things of that nature. How is that news to us? We're in the same conference. I mean, the New York Giants, they've been out of the playoffs or however the case. So I'm pretty sure it's the same thing with the Commanders. It's like beneficial or however the case. But then once it's official for them, we'll officially have like the division pretty much locked or however the case, just with one more win, and then they lose or however the case may be. But with Justin Herbert, probably gonna carve him up or however the case. The Chargers will probably beat them. Probably. Week 16 versus Washington. Offensively, I think the number one thing is you know, Loeffler staying involved or however the case. If that was the thing last time or however the case, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm actually in the locker room. But that one play did look highly similar, and it would make sense if he did or however the case. But I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I'm not saying as if it's a fact. I think that is important to note. I'm not saying as if it's a fact. But anyways, yeah, good to great offensive line play, good play calling and things of that nature. Taking advantage of opportunities given to us by our defense. With Marcus Mariota playing, it's not going to be Jaden Daniels or have a case. You know, they're shutting him down for the season. So, you know, since it's just going to be Marcus Mariota or however the case, you know, I, you know, really think, you know, we have it in the bag. But yeah, that being said, defensively, I think the number one thing is, you know, getting off the field fast, or however the case, trying to avoid, you know, injuries, but also, you know, still playing physical and things of that nature. You know, just playing smart, you know. You know, just get like a few stops or however the case. You know, even then, you know, it should be easy. You know, it's Marcus Mariota. He's not that good. There's a reason why he's a backup. And obviously Jalen Phillips staying healthy and you know, greatly effective and all that, because we need him, you know, for the playoffs or however the case. I don't exactly have a score prediction, but like I said, I think we have it in the bag or however the case, especially, you know, whenever we face a division rival in terms of the NFC East and things of that nature. I hope we blow them out, though, and take the next step to fixing the offense, which is finding consistency in playing well. But realistically, like I said, you know, I could see it being a one possession or two possession game, being realistic, like a touchdown or two. I don't think it would be like a 1 or 2 point game, but I think it'll at least be like a 7 to 14 point game. That would be my humble prediction. So to kind of wrap it all up, I'm glad we beat the Raiders, who do suck or however the case. Again, I'm not saying that, you know, they're the greatest thing of all time or however the case, but you know, I'm still not the biggest fan of Nick Sirianni or however the case. You know, I hope, you know, our offensive line, you know, gets to playing better, however the case, when it comes to run blocking. 74 yards, it's all right. 1 touchdown, so it's okay, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, we need more out of the offensive line, you know, create the bigger holes or however the case. So hopefully in the off season or however the case may be, you know, because realistically, there's no one for Howie to add now, especially post trade deadline. But anyway, what do you guys think we have to do to beat Washington and things of that nature? Comment what you think. You know, what you think about everything so far this season, or even anything Eagles related down below, and I will get to it as fast as I can. All that said, that's all I have for you guys today. I just want to say thank you guys so much for choosing Philly Flyover Network and sticking with me and things of that nature and making it part of your day. As many of you know, Philly Flyover Network is where you get authentic Eagles passion you can trust. I'm not always right, you know what I'm saying, but I do take pride in the fact that I try to always admit when I'm wrong. You know, I am trying to get a team together, you know what I'm saying, an editor and things of that nature, a schedule, you know what I'm saying, a secretary type thing, or however the case, like I'm trying to find like the proper programming or however the case, or trying to get like the right setup or however the case, whether it be adding people in or finding the right software or however the case may be. But yeah, all that said, you know, I'm trying to, you know, be more consistent or however the case, because, you know, I know these last few weeks or however the case, as you would have seen on Twitter, however, you know, I've been kind of struggling for those reasons or however the case. But Philly Flyover Network, you know what I'm saying, trying to take the next step or however the case. If you guys can, please like, comment, and subscribe or however the case, so then maybe YouTube will stop taking our views, even though I know on this individual video, the algorithm or however the case may be, since I haven't uploaded in a while, you know, that will probably explain it for this video. But that being said, God bless you all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Philly out. Peace.